Wow. Just look at that. The magic of art and shirts.
Yeah, art and art.
Art and art.
As a matter of fact, we met somebody who is one of the designers for Robert Graham. No, that's not what it was. Who was
No.
it?
Someone wrote to you and said that they know him. It's a neighbor.
Oh, they know.
It's a
Oh,
neighbor.
I thought we met him. Well, that's kind of like meeting somebody. Anyway, yeah, Robert Graham shirts, nice shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so are those other ones that I got. But, at least change the shirt every day. If you're going to do this, I figure I'm better for,
Hey, yeah, you always look nice, honey.
Yeah, well, yeah, something might happen.
So,
you don't want to leave the house not looking good.
It's been a couple of times now that you've brought up the fact that somebody has written that Tom Dowd had something to do with the piano.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Please. This is true. History can get so blown out of the water just by a rumor, and there's one that's going around. It's actually somebody wrote about it. Tom Dowd playing the piano part, piano coda. He actually played the piano, this whole thing it's so screwed up that whole thing around the coda. They have Tom Dowd playing the piano and writing it, So this is how warped it is. And I figure I better step in here because I was there, I played piano on it. I played the support piano, which is on top of Jim's piano. So he started out, then I came in, and then they pulled him out, and I finished the whole thing off. But I was there. Tom Dowd had nothing to do with the piano part on Layla, except putting it together with the song. That's the only part he had. It was tagging it to the end of Layla, putting them together like that. But yeah, the next thing you know, if somebody doesn't stand up and say something, the whole world believes this. They'll believe whatever's told them. So I think it's pretty important that some of these things, these conversations cover some real factual territory,
Sure. So let me ask you, when you had to fly back to the studio, fly back to Miami to add the coda to the Eric's song, did you work on how the ending would be again? Did you run through how did you put the two together?
All we did was just went in and played it,
How did Layla end to begin with?
If you hear it just imagine it when it goes silent before the piano comes in. Mm-hmm. That's how it ended.
Okay.
Ended just like that.
Then you had to come in with this thing and try to make it sound like
like it was done right there.
Was it difficult? Was it difficult to do that?
That's Tom Dowd's thing. He tried to get me to do it, play drums, and he played piano because I couldn't get the part. It didn't register with me. When I was wanting to put it on the end of Layla, it just didn't fit right, with me. But Jim Gordon heard it. He heard it. And so he already knew what the tempo, and that was his job as the timekeeper, so he could hear it where to come in. And we did it just like that, because he put the piano down. That was what it was.
Go ahead.
He did the piano first, and then we came back in and he played drums and bass, Eric and me on top of that. And then Dwayne with his slide on top of that. So that's pretty much how it went down.
So
it was pieced together.
It was the piano by itself?
He put the piano down.
Yes, by himself.
Nobody
else playing.
Nobody playing.
And of course he's a drummer, so he's got the time.
He's got the time signature. Da, da. So he had this thing already.
Pre-planned.
Yeah, that was his part. I couldn't hear the chords. I couldn't hear the C to the and how it progressed, and it didn't register with me. Then it didn't register when we recorded it. He sat down and played the piano. Then we came back and played to that piano. He already had his tempo and everything, and the whole part. Everything was a groove, and it happened just like that. And Dwayne overdubbed his part after that.
So last.
Dwayne's thing was last.
So he and Eric weren't playing together.
No.
Well,
They played together on the first part on the song Layla.
I know, but I mean, I'm talking about the coda.
No,
They did not play together.
No,
So they weren't bouncing back and forth like everybody thinks was
No,
going
not
on.
the coda. No, because he put that slide, because he had to do it twice.
Because it
Tom
was the
had
first,
to make, yeah,
because
Tom
it was
had to
out
make,
of tune.
Yeah, really out of tune. Tom had to make it work putting.
But they kept
blending it too.
the first one after all, didn't they?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you,
Okay.
because he used bits of this and bits of that
Oh, gotcha.
to get it right,
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it worked. He put his piano down first, and then we all played. Because I was thinking, no, he didn't do that. That's not what.
Were you all kind of sitting around going, ay, what the?
No, no.
Okay,
We're talking about Eric
just all
Clapton
busy.
and Carl and Jim and me.
No, I mean just the frustration of having Jim to do the piano and,
Well, there was a thing at the front about me playing it, and I said, I don't know it, You keep trying to told you. I don't play it. This is your thing,
Right.
And so we was having the same deal that took place in the living room in Hurtwood Edge, just carried right over into the studio. Like 2 days later, nothing had changed. The story was the same. My argument was the same. It didn't belong on there.
Right.
Okay. That's really what the deal was.
So how did they get you to calm down to play it?
Tom Dowd had me put it over his because Jim's had no feel. He said, "We want you to come back and put piano over the top of this." And so Jim starts it out. You can hear it plain and clear. And then I'm brought into the mix, and it keeps me on the way. I got a little bit different feel about it,
Well,
I gave it feel. Where before, when he played it, it was just rudiment. Da, 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 da,
That's
da,
interesting,
da,
right? It's very interesting, because he's such a musical drummer. You'd think
He was a musical drummer,
you'd think
big
that
time.
he would have feel.
But he didn't have any feel. He could play the notes and the beat and all this stuff.
It's kind of like listening to King Curtis sing. He sings exactly how he plays.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which I thought
King
was-
Curtis. I love his voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, excuse me, I got that back afterwards, and I really wanted to make sure this was right, that this whole thing was.
But Tom Dowd did not actually play the piano.
Well, he asked me after Jim's thing because I figured, okay, I don't have to worry about it. Because B3 was easy cake for me,
Sure.
So my work here is finished, So. No, they wanted
Not
me to
so
come back and
fast.
play.
Right.
I was going, oh man, and I did anyway. And
So
I'm
funny.
glad that I did because I know what he, what he was after.
Sure, yeah. He had
It's
to
just
have
that
feel.
I balked on that whole thing from the conception of the idea for it to happen to right through it actually happening till it finally being over, and it was like, well, thank God that thing is okay, And I wasn't finished. I pitched such a stink about
You're
it.
still pitching a stink about it.
Yeah, that the 45, the single, didn't have it on it. There was no piano on the original single. It was just the song Layla. All right, and they put it on the album. So that was it was not on the single.
They're
Bobby.
actually trying to make you happy, which is amazing.
Yeah. I think trying to just to keep calm the seed a little bit. But then Ron Hausman in Nashville at the I can't remember the radio station. He started playing it, the album cut, over and over, kind of like Dewey Phillips did with "That's All Right Now, Mama" for Elvis. But Ron did that with the Layla thing, and suddenly the whole thing was important. You know,
Right.
The piece of work, this piece of art is important. You know, the piano part is important. Now it is. You know, most people couldn't hear it. You know, I could hear it, but I was resisting. You know.
Sure.
I was resisting.
Well, you know, someone's coming in and taking the song that was written by Eric and adding their
and added something to it, and it didn't need anything. There was nothing there, you know.
But you know, a lot of people would argue that, and personally, that's what I heard, and that's what I loved. So
well, yeah, and
that's the way most people are going to say it.
It's my
Yeah, but you see the difference between you, because you were there, and the rest of the world wasn't. So they're hearing what they hear, which was the song in its entirety.
Like it came together, like that's the way it was written, that's the way it's supposed to be, and
right.
all that. No, that thing was a chore at best, you know. And when we were using reels of 2-inch tape, and Layla was the last song we recorded on the original 2-inch reel.
It wasn't meant to be any longer.
And so it was it was like, and the whole thing in those days was to conserve tape.
Sure.
You know, and so I mean, the tape had ended when the end of the song Layla, all right, not the piano coda. So by the time it got to the end of that, the tape was around the center, the hub of that reel, which is very small. So the speed here is different than it is here. All right. So when we came back to do the piano coda, they had a fresh reel of tape on out like this, and so they're running from the tail end of this one, which is going one speed, onto this, which is the natural speed, and it didn't match up. It didn't marry because one was faster than this, and so it didn't. Sonically, it wasn't right. Rhythmically, it wasn't right. And it took Tom Dowd. This is where his so-called genius came in. He was able to put those together to where it was flawless.
Did he talk about that with you guys? Did he mention the fact that one was slower than the other, and binding them together was going to be?
Yeah, well, he had to adjust some speeds and stuff.
And you all knew about it
on his own. Yeah, we knew about it.
And I suppose you just left it for him to.
Then he had, Ronnie and Howie Albert, as his engineers. They were really doing all the thing. He was kind of like instructing until the very end of it, And then Abby Galutin was a runner, and he turned out to be a real famous producer. And I didn't know he did anything other than just chase cheeseburgers. And now he did a bunch of Bee Gees, and so did the Howard brothers.
Well, that's what happens. You grow in the business. So you start off there, and then you grow. And it doesn't take a whole long. It doesn't take long. It didn't then, anyway.
Yeah. Mac Emmerman, the guy that started, I saw a photo of him the other day. Criteria on one of my sites. And so I really kind of have watched it grow from afar into this huge thing that it is now, the studio. But Tom Dowd and Jerry Wexler and Mac Emmerman were the ones who, Tom and Jerry actually brought Amity on, and that was their haven, because they had houses there. That was their haven, close for them to record. And the place flourished,
Sure.
Criteria Studios did. I was glad to be a part of it. The only album in there, gold album on the wall, was a James Brown gold album hanging in the hall going down that way. Domingo Samudio, Sam Shem was in the little studio doing his record. And Dwayne was cut. Dwayne actually did the Layla album, and Sam Shem's record at the same time. So And there is a book now called The Hired Gun, you know. And all the Dwayne Allman fans were down on me for years about saying that he was a hired gun. But that's what he
I would have
was,
thought
man.
that was a compliment, you know.
I would look at it as a compliment, man. You want something done, man, you get the best gunslinger there is, you know.
Right.
And that's what, no, I said that one time and it was all over but the shouting, and there was plenty of that, and there was a bunch of cuss words attached to it. It's like, oh, God almighty. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad we had this talk, and I'm glad I got this thing straight with myself. Yeah, I mean, because I didn't sit around, I don't sit around and plan on what to say or what we're talking about. But I thought this was real important when I keep seeing this thing about Tom Dowd, playing piano. You know, no, that didn't happen, you know, so, no. He didn't come out behind the glass but one time. He stayed back there where he belonged with engineers recording and producing the record, co-producing the record. He was the executive producer. And Domino's, we produced it.